December 5th, 1775. Henry Knox stood on the frozen shore of Lake George, staring at 59 iron cannons half buried in snow. He was 25 years old. He had never commanded an army in the field. He had never moved a single cannon farther than the length of his own bookshop. 300 miles to the east, a British fleet sat anchored in Boston Harbor, the most powerful navy on earth, backing an army of over 6,000 professional soldiers dug in behind the city's walls. General William Howe believed the siege around Boston was a stalemate he could simply wait out. He was wrong. In 60 days, in the dead of a New England winter, Henry Knox would move 60 tons of heavy artillery across 2 frozen rivers, 1 Great Lake, and a mountain range no army had ever crossed with guns this size, and hand George Washington the weapon that would end the siege without firing a single shot. This is how a bookseller armed a revolution. Boston, late autumn, 1775. The Continental Army surrounded the city. Thousands of men, farmers, and tradesmen turned soldiers wrapped around Boston in a loose ring of trenches and hills. But surrounding a city means nothing without the guns to force it open. Washington had riflemen. He had willpower. He did not have a single cannon capable of driving the British Navy out of the harbor. And that is where a Boston bookseller enters the story. Henry Knox had grown up poor, the 7th of 10 children, forced to leave school at 12 when his father's business collapsed and abandoned the family. He worked, he read, and in the bookshop he eventually opened on Cornhill Street, he devoured every military engineering text he could find, teaching himself the mathematics of artillery from the pages he sold to British officers. He had never fired a cannon in battle, but he understood them better than almost any man in America. That gap, between what Knox knew on paper and what he had never done in practice, was about to become the hinge on which an entire siege would turn. Across the harbor, General William Howe saw no reason to worry. The roads north were frozen, the mountains impassable, and no army in living memory had hauled siege artillery through a New England winter. Howe was patient, methodical, and confident in one simple calculation. The Americans had no guns and no way to get any before spring. He was about to learn how badly he had underestimated a man with a library card. Washington approved Knox's plan in November. Send him to Fort Ticonderoga, captured from the British months earlier, and bring its abandoned cannons back to Boston. Look at the map, and the plan sounds like madness. 300 miles. Lake George, frozen but unreliable. The Hudson River, crossed not once but 4 times. Then the Berkshire Mountains, a wall of granite and snow that had never once been crossed by artillery of this weight. 59 guns, mortars, howitzers, cannons ranging from a few hundred pounds to over 5,000. Knox's solution was built from what New England already had: 42 massive sledges and 80 yoke of oxen to drag them. The night before he left Fort Ticonderoga, Knox wrote home to his wife Lucy, a short, almost businesslike letter, betraying none of the scale of what he was about to attempt. He simply said he expected to succeed.